that Kendrick knows that going forward, he's going to have the whole culture's ear. And so he is preparing his master thesis. Not to make this into a Kendrick versus Drake thing. So that song is not a diss to Drake. It's not. People, like, it's so frustrating.
So I do think, and you're probably wondering, like, why you say silent for so long, because I don't disagree with anything he said so far in the first, like, 10 minutes or whatever. But I think, at least for association purposes, optically speaking, to add on to the little clip that somebody showed me from Mallory Bros that seemed as if it was out of context, I would say Kendrick would need to at least distance himself from a part of the people that will fall under the category of things that he was critiquing in the Black Air Force song. If he doesn't do that, I don't see a way for his regime or his message or his plan beyond that point to be accepted or respected, despite the fact that it seemed like on that song it was a bigger call to action to everybody listening to stop allowing your viewership to be taken advantage of by people like the names he mentioned in the media and by rappers who don't deserve your ear. I think that message is going to be respected a lot more if he disassociates himself with people that are contributing to that in all facets. Like even a flick or a nod in an interview, I feel like would be too much. So going forward, past this song, if he does not disassociate, he will not be rid of the hypocrite accusations. He will not be rid of the noticers who are like, oh, but didn't you say that one time on that song and during the whole summer of 2024 that we should disassociate from these things? We should move past these things. We don't need these things. What's up with you? What's up with your mans? So that's really all it is to me. He can't completely separate because that's where he comes from. What he's criticizing and where he comes from are two different things. Where he comes from, to an extent, is still an ilk of people who have a form of decency that some of them don't know how to rid themselves of the circumstances that they came from. So you know how you can judge people's heart and then you can judge people's actions? And some people are more a result of their environment and tendencies as opposed to being naturally evil-hearted or dark-spirited. So I feel like there's more people like that Kendrick may have spoken that he was raised around than people who are intentionally being degenerate because they want to sell records or are intentionally selling a false image because they want to be popular or because they want to make money.
The level of fucking media analysis and critical thinking, or the lack thereof, that people had, that people listened to that song and thought it was about Drake. It's not. It's really not about Drake. You can probably misapply it to Drake, but it doesn't really, not at all. It's about the industry. It's about the state of the culture. But going back to what I was saying,
but that put, like I said, it not being specifically about Drake, which I feel most people should take away from that song, that is the moment for everybody to realize, okay, this whole thing has been bigger than Drake and is bigger than Drake. And that's going to put Kendrick on an even bigger pedestal, or not a pedestal, but it's going to put him on a bigger, it's going to make the field of view of Kendrick Lamar like that much bigger. And the fact that the idea is much bigger than Drake, and if you reflect on the whole 2024 spring and summer of it, as far as these two have been concerned, and realize that Kendrick has been talking about something way broader than that, the fact that he's going to be the halftime performer, like, I feel like this could not have happened at a better time for whether or not you're going to look at Kendrick Lamar, his message, and say, this nigga really living it. He walks the talk.
But it shows that I was right in
magnifying glass spotlight. Yeah, those words.
That Kendrick has the ear of the culture right now. Because understand, I think I saw on Twitter today, Drake has dropped like 20 songs since the beef, and none of them have had the impact that this had last night in the short period of time. And I kind of like that No Face song. It feels unfinished. But beyond that, he's tried every little different type of Drake he's given us. He's given us Drake with the melodies and Drake when he acts tough, and none of them have really resonated at a significant level. I do think this is a heart. I don't know if that'll ring true at the end, but it's definitely a heart and essence. And everything with Kendrick is on purpose. He's really thoughtful about this shit. Like the picture of the Black Air Forces was a picture of Black Air Forces on sale that sold today, an hour before he posted the video. I don't know how this nigga keeps doing this shit. All right, so
wait, what does that
video. I don't know that sold today, an hour before he posted the video.
What does this mean? He's saying like if the shoe fits. I don't know
how this nigga keeps doing this shit.
And who the fuck is buying Black Forces on Grail? I just feel like it's never that serious. Like you just go. I might be, like I said, that might be a different bag. You know what I'm saying? That might be pro-capitalist or whatever the fuck. Vintage? Wait, what do you mean they're vintage? You lost me. Oh, 70? It's not worth it.
Today, an hour before he posted the video. I don't know how this nigga keeps doing this shit. All right, so that brings you to the Super Bowl thing. And as much as I love Kendrick, I got a side eye a little bit. I'm going to be hopeful and withhold judgment, but the American flag was a choice. Like I said a second ago, everything Kendrick...
Oh, I thought just being on the Super Bowl. I didn't think anybody gave a fuck about the American flag, to be honest with you. Because if you're going to be at the Super Bowl, you got to rep the flag. Like, that's a given. You don't got a choice. You're not going to the Super Bowl and that flag not up. So it's going to be somewhere.
That's intentional. Like, maybe there's a long-term storytelling thing that's going to happen that we're going to look back on and say, okay, I see what he was doing there. Maybe, I know it was a movie reference. I know it was a Pat movie reference. It's still a choice. The Pat, like, I don't know much about that movie, but like that speech, the speech that was from is like, ugh. So in my mind, I would like to think that there's something coming that will make sense of that. But then the other part is that this is the NFL and Jay-Z. I'm sorry, reclaiming the flag. Ugh. I don't know about that one.
I don't get that. Because you can't expect him to be at the Super Bowl, bro. If anybody expects Kendrick Lamar to get on that stage and the first thing this nigga does is take a knee, I don't know what dream you living in, but you need to wake the fuck up very, very quickly. That is not happening. Now, like I said, he might put people onto a message, a new song might drop or something like that during the performance. He might drop some special effects, a message in the sky, Black Jesus might come down. I don't know, but a kneel, a different
Black
flag.
Air Forces just represent niggas
like,
on 730 time. People that have done work in the streets.
I mean, I feel like that's been more of a, I don't know. Where I come from, it wasn't a Black Air Force thing. It was, like I said, that might just be I'm not trying to call it an internet thing. I don't know. The shoe thing has lost me a little bit.
My heart of hearts, my heart tells me Kendrick's gonna do something really cool that's gonna inspire.
Niggas think he gonna bring out Colin Kaepernick.
And I'm not gonna cringe at it. I'm gonna be like, yo, that was some real hip hop shit. My head tells me he's gonna do some Ibram X Kendi, Beyonce with the Black Panther outfit on type shit. Because we're talking about Jay-Z, so we know. So let me do that history real quick. Jay-Z is the coordinating body, the person that chooses the halftime shows for the NFL since 2019. Anybody? 2019, 2018, and that was in part the NFL laundering what happened with Colin Kaepernick. So to bring it back even further, in 2015, 2016, Colin Kaepernick protests at the NFL. He kneels on one knee in protest of police brutality against Black people. I think this is after Mike Brown. He plays the rest of that year. I think he's 27, 28. Cap legit had 4 years easy left in his career. But he is released from his team, and his team releasing him wasn't that surprising. What was shocking is that he never played another down in NFL. He was blackballed. He was unofficially blackballed.
Right.
I don't know how the blackballing worked. They didn't put it on paper, but it was clear that there was collusion across the league. And I said, we're not taking Colin Kaepernick. We're not putting him back in the league. And the protests got bigger for a second, and then right as they were kind of getting to like a point where it was really causing
people shitting on Cap still for his decision. I don't know what the reason. I mean, I know the reason from one side that's criticizing and shitting on Kaepernick, but I think there's another side that didn't understand that he still justifiably had a passion for football, outside of him protesting what he thought was wrong. I think it would have made him look better had he never done anything that showed that he was still willing to participate in the NFL beyond that point, being unofficially blackballed. But I think the footage that people saw of him training still and him hoping to get, taken in by another team was more so him being hopeful to still keep playing a game more than it was to play politics.
Problems. I think I made a video about it. I may have had a video, like an old joint. If you go to like the bottom of my channel, I feel like I have a video where I touch on that in 2020, the NFL was still getting booed and still trying to figure out what they were going to do about the protest, the national anthem, and all this shit. And
He still want to get signed? Yeah, because he wants to play.
understand, I don't think Colin Kaepernick is like fucking, Steve
Kappa
Biko. Shout out to
tryouts and some NFL teams showed up, but he wanted stuff on his terms and it's been dead ever since.
Yeah.
Steve Biko.
But I feel like a lot of people didn't hear that side of things, and they just thought that he was willing to play his position again. Like, he was willing to be, silent on those issues. So he's not going to get back in with the demands that he's got, but I just don't think optically it made him look good still being willing to participate. But you can't take away your love for the game.
Who I think had a commemoration yesterday. I'm not like trying to make him out to be like some huge martyr. He's a very rich man. He got a settlement and he moved on, right? He's chilling. He's doing work quietly in his space. Shout out to him. Still a good dude from everything I've ever heard about him. But to move on, the NFL said, how do we get everyone like back on board, chill everything out,
How good of a player was Cap? I thought he's pretty good.
and keep it
He
moving?
wasn't like game breaking. This is one of the best players of all time, but he was good.
And enter Jay-Z. And Jay-Z is a hyper-capitalist. He's an AI artist now. oh, Lord. Jay-Z's a hyper-capitalist. Jay-Z's about this money. Jay-Z has slowly worked his way up to billionaire status for the sake of like long-term planning. That's impressive. But at every stage, Jay-Z has done some whack-ass shit, some compromised-ass shit, every stage of the game since he stopped making music. He started with lending his name to the Nets, making
Yeah, and for years, his excuse for the most part has been, it basically has been like you got to get a seat at the table to make change, and when he's gotten the seat, he's done nothing with it.
and all these niggas. He rapping about I own the Nets, moving the Nets to BK. He owned 0.01% of the Nets, and just used his name to get them rebuilding and regentrifying Brooklyn like over with the people. And then this NFL thing was another thing, and like he could have really just did the NFL shit and was quiet about it, but him doing the NFL shit and making it seem like a natural extension of Colin's movement was whack. And at the time, and I was not really on board, but I wasn't as critical as I am now or would be now.
I would do the same if I was Jay, not gonna lie. I would just ask, like, why? That's really my biggest thing. I feel like the risk has to be worth the reward. And let's say I'm doing it for generational wealth. That's my air quotes. That's my excuse for doing it, right? I want money that lasts beyond my lifetime, so my kids will never have to work again. I just feel like if I'm feeding into a corporation or corporations that don't consider the race or ethnic origin that my kids and my grandkids and my kids are going to fall under, isn't it going to be counterproductive if I'm adding more fuel to their already existent fire? Like, it wouldn't be beneficial to me in any way to help out corporations and systems that are ultimately going to put my future generations in harm's way later on. So I don't think that there's a point in you know what I'm saying, the whole generational wealth thing, and the whole like I'll give to this corporation or I'll feed into this corporation because it's going to benefit me and mine long term, but it won't. The money will be cool, but the position that I guess everybody will be in, you know what I'm saying, I don't think it'll be worth it.
But at the time, he was like, "What? Give me some of them bullshit black excellence phrases niggas was making to excuses for Jay-Z. You got to play the game to win the game. You got to change the system from within. Checkers, not chess, not checkers." That's what they were saying to niggas. They were saying chess, not checkers, as Jay-Z did this shit. And since Jay-Z has done this, because we was like, yo, Jay-Z gonna hold us down. Jay-Z gonna hold Cap down. Jay-Z gonna probably do this. He gonna probably do that. He has done nothing. He has done nothing other than get his money for getting new acts. We had Usher, The Weeknd, Rihanna, the whole West Coast people last year, maybe, or a couple of years before that. I feel like I think maybe Maroon 5 was like the only white people he's brought. We passed Nillin. We really aren't. Nigga just got shot in DC 11 times like last week. So Kendrick has already crossed the line to perform. And mind you, everybody has. So to show you my hypocrisy here, I never stopped watching football. I was like, I'm not stopping watching football. I respect everything Cap did.
Yeah, I don't know where this came from. The whole like, this has probably been like the biggest point of contention for me, because I will definitely look at like the halftime performances after it's aired. I don't think I've watched the Super Bowl since 27. I don't remember. I know for the most part people at Mass didn't stop, but I always thought to myself like, it's crazy how many people are saying like Colin's doing a great thing right now, and you know Jay-Z's a piece of shit for, you know what I'm saying, attaching himself to his message and using that as a way to pivot attention away from the fact that he's just building up more money for himself, and you know all these other things, how athletes are horribly misrepresented and how they're treated poorly, especially young black men that are, you know what I'm saying, athletes and stuff like that. I'm just like, why y'all still watching it though? Like every single year, and like it's all like shit's all good. I don't get it. FD only saying that because there was a lot of noise about boycotting NFL back then. No, I don't remember that. I don't remember there being that much noise about boycotting the NFL. I don't. Not saying it didn't happen. I just never saw that. I never saw that.
I find other ways to support. I'm not stopping watching football. This is one of the few things I do with my fun time. I never join any boy.
But it's not like that's one of those things that I'm saying that like that's the capitalism argument. That's like, oh shit, you got criticism for like Apple as a company. Why are you using an iPhone? Like that's that type of logic. I'm not saying that one person stopping watching the NFL is gonna hurt their bottom line, because it won't. But you know what I'm saying? As like an entire community, that would take millions and millions and millions of people at large at the same time saying we're gonna agree to not do this thing, and I don't see that happening.
Boycott, etc. You don't gotta watch much of my channel to know the nigga love the Bears. Motherfuckers like, well, you know. So like, let me no name myself real quick and understand that I am speaking as not the morally pure figure in this situation. Shout out to everybody that stopped watching football after Cap. Shout out to all 5 of y'all. That said, when Kendrick performed, I noticed one specific thing that I might have put in a video, and I was like, ooh, that one stings. That one stings. Because Kendrick's performance included All Right. One of my favorite Kendrick songs, one of my children's favorite Kendrick songs, song that really represented, was like the song of the Black Lives Matter movement, the organic movement. He has a line, we hate Po-Po, want to kill us dead in the street for sure. Right? In his performance at the Super Bowl, Kendrick edited that line out of the song. He said, and we hate pop pop. It was like it's an extra drum lick. Right? Want to kill us dead in the street for sure. And it's like, ooh.
He literally just said it, and I don't remember what performance he's referencing that quick. The LA Super Bowl?
Song that really represented, was like the song of the Black Lives, that line out of the song. He said, and we hate pop pop. It was like it's an extra drum lick. Right? Want to kill us dead in the street for sure. And it's like, ooh, it made you cut that out. And I get it. I've heard people say like, oh, he had to do that because, well, obviously he had to do it because if people wanted to perform, he had to do it. But they also seemed like it was like, look, a lot of people will get their pockets touched if you say that. Either way, it was disappointing. That was when I realized Kendrick was human. I never gave Kendrick a ton of credit for his politics, just because his politics, even before I involved my politics, I recognize Kendrick's politics. There's a question I see in my comments all the time, and like when I look up, when I'm out there like looking for info, people are like, is Kendrick a hotep? What is a hotep? Like, y'all really think Kendrick a hotep? Yes. Kendrick, like, he name dropped Nipsey Hussle in this song. Now, not hotep in the most pejorative sense, but just in there's a specific, black, Afrocentric, radical aesthetic, umbrella. Hoteps have it's a large spectrum, and yeah, he's in that spectrum. He's not very problematic with his teppery. I think Kendrick's hotepery is ideal. I think the hotepery you want is what Kendrick Lamar gives you, because no really problematic hotep is making Auntie Diaries. So I respect Kendrick's politics overall, but I just don't have I don't put a lot of value in them. The only rapper whose politics I think are actually pretty good overall, even though he has a lot of L. Shout out to John Lewis, who just drug him for filth. But Lupe Fiasco is the only person whose politics I think have been on point pretty much from jump. But other than in No Name, obviously I'm tripping. No Name and like mainstream rappers. So that brings me back to Kendrick and
outside of music, I think No Name's pretty consistent. Lupe, I respect Lupe because his voice, outside of just music, has been something that he's prioritized a lot. You know what I'm saying? I think Lupe probably does get a lot. He should get a lot more respect from most people, I would say, because it's not just if anybody's shown it or proven it throughout the years. I feel like he's proven it. It's just not just for show. You know what I'm saying? You could actually look in on Lupe and be like, yeah, nah, you actually live what you be talking about in your music, for the most part. Why are you putting Tupac with a question mark?
But I was teasing at the end, or at the beginning, which I kind of already said. There's a good chance that this halftime, there's a chance, again, in my heart, that Kendrick's going to do something really cool and radical. He's either going to get permission or defy rules, and we're going to see some shit that has us really talking for the rest of the week about what he did at the Super Bowl. But more than likely, he's going to do some co-opted shit. I'm just being real. As much as I love him, as much as I love the man's music, I cannot imagine anything being done on the Super Bowl set up by Jay-Z truly being radical. It would be Black Excellence Brunch adjacent. That's just the truth. And part of this song is a response to people talking, oh, Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, no, by the way, no. The Super Bowl's been...
Bet he don't even do Not Like Us. But he's got so many, I feel like songs that will go, better with what the Super Bowl needs to hear, I feel like.
New Orleans 7 times in the last 15 years. Literally every third, fourth year, the Super Bowl's in New Orleans. Nobody's ever cared that Wayne hasn't performed in the Super Bowl. That's the Drake side. That's a Drake stan psyop. Wayne is dope. Wayne is way too raunchy. Name me a Lil Wayne song where he doesn't talk about having sex with biracial women, doing drugs, and killing people. Lollipop? No, not even Lollipop. What the fuck am I talking about? The Nicki tirade, I can't look. Nah, Wayne a whole Trump supporter. Nicki probably is too. So miss me with that. But yeah, that's something that's not being talked about. And that's kind of the most insidious and concerning thing. Bringing it full circle is that hip hop is so cooked and commodified that it's going to be used in December or February, possibly with Donald Trump in office, to do a pro-America, we all one country, oh God, if that's what it is. My fear is that Kendrick's performance will be the end of Black Panther. If for those who don't remember, was T'Challa speaking to the UN and saying he's going to give all the vibranium to the people and that we are all one tribe. And I choose to interpret that differently, but the intended interpretation was on some kumbaya, all lives matter ass shit. And if you don't think that that is a possibility for this Super Bowl performance, you need to get woke. You're not woke enough if you don't think that's a possibility. So brace yourself for that. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to still love hip hop. I'm going to still love Kendrick. I'm sure we're going to get new music. I might turn this off and find out this nigga dropped. But understand, if you're a betting man,
I wouldn't say that, to be honest. I wouldn't respect that at all. I understand it. I guess that's what I would say. But I wouldn't respect that at all. I wouldn't. I'm gonna be honest with you. After everything that has happened up until this point, I feel like you got to stand on something. You know, that's what I feel like. I feel like you really got to stand on something and stand on your words, stand behind the things that you've said and the things that you've preached. And if you're in positions that are preventing you from doing so, I completely understand opting out. I completely understand bowing out of an opportunity like this, but you can't have it and then muzzle yourself. You can't have the opportunity be presented to you and compromise. I understand that that's what some people say you have to do in order to inspire true change and a directional shift, and we have to do this. But it's very reminiscent, the same thing that you're criticizing Jay-Z for, saying that I need to get a foot in the door or a seat at the table to spark change. That would be basically the exact same thing. And the beneficiary in that being you as a solo act, as a musician, while you preach to your audience to leave behind all these things that you say and claim that we don't need, that would be very hypocritical. That would be a non-respectable move. You know what I'm saying? At some point, and I'm not saying that he hasn't, you know what I'm saying, sacrificed elements of his career before, but at some point, you have to look at the bigger picture, which is the exact same thing that you referenced in that most recent song. You got to look at the bigger picture and say, I can't have this cake and eat it too. If they prevent me from saying the things that I need to say to the audience that I feel needs to hear it the most, am I better off not being there? So, yeah, I definitely would not respect it if it turns out to be, you know, one of those, oh, I'm just here to put on a show, entertain. I get it. Don't get me wrong. I understand it from a business point of view. I'm not unreasonable and think that niggas don't know, like, they don't need to make money and they don't need to put their music out there. They don't need to be spread to a broader audience. I understand it, but do I respect it? Would I look at them like a hypocrite after? 100%. 100%. There's nothing you can say to make me think that that's not hypocritical.
Hip hop gets cooked at the Super Bowl. So be prepared. Kendrick, if you're watching, I believe in you. I hope that you give us more than the end of Black Panther. I hope that you give us something that is at least if you just do some dope shit and don't try to make a statement, I'll be okay with that. But if you try to make a statement and it's an all lives matter end of Black Panther ass statement, ooh.
Yeah, it depends on the attempt too. I agree with that. It depends on the attempt. If he's just there to put on his show, do his job, go home, fine. But I do agree, if you are attempting something like that, yeah, it's gonna make you look away. I still think, given the platform, you have an opportunity to do something great, something bigger than just perform, especially given how much you've talked about all these things. But at the end of the day, if you're there to do a job and go home, cool. But you're not going to rid yourself of the hypocritical criticism on that end of the spectrum if you're there to just do a job and go home. But especially if you're trying to make a message, or you're trying to be philosophical, or you come on here trying to, you know, oh, I got something I gotta tell y'all. I gotta raise my fist in the air. We need to hear this. Yeah, I'm gonna look at you crazy. But you gotta wait and see. You know what I'm saying? You gotta wait and see. I definitely won't be watching it live, but I'll see after. You know what I'm saying? What he say, how he perform his shit, and you know what I'm saying? We'll see it from there.